All right, so we're just going to get started now. Hi, everyone. So welcome to our third seminar. We are having our vaccine injury seminar because we know that there are some people who have taken the COVID vaccine and unfortunately have experienced injury. So we want to have some transparency around this experience and to be able to, share with others what has happened and also ways in which symptoms have been mitigated. So I'll be interviewing Brett tonight, and we'll basically be talking about his experience. So before we begin, we'll first begin with a disclaimer. Brett, our doctors, we cannot first prescribe anything, and we can't give medical advice. So of course, with anything, consult your healthcare provider, but we're just giving information. And also, we will begin with a word of prayer before we begin. So bow your heads and close your eyes. Father in heaven, thank you for everything that you've done for us. Thank you that we are together today to talk about such an important topic. God, I pray that you'll just bless this meeting today, that you will guide my words and Brett's words, and that this meeting will be a blessing to others. In Jesus' name I do pray, amen. All right, so Brett, my first question for you tonight is, why did you choose to take the COVID vaccine?
For two reasons. Number one, my wife pressured me into it, but at the same time, I have a newborn. And so, I don't jump into anything unless I have all the information in front of me. The effects of the vaccine were not necessarily known right away. However, when you have a newborn and you love it and you care for it so much, you just want to protect her. You just want to protect your baby at all costs. So okay. that was what it was for me.
Okay, so it's kind of twofold because you felt like your wife really wanted you to do it, and also your newborn, you felt like you'd be putting her at risk if you did not take it.
Exactly. And that was for the first shot. The second shot, I was being pressured into it again. However, I figured, hey, I've been told of some things that can help minimize some of the damages. Figured instead of believing conspiracy theories, I'll be the guinea pig.
So who was pressuring you at that time? Was it still from your wife or someone else?
Yes, my wife, of course. and she means well. I mean, all these people who got the vaccine, they mean well. They just want to make sure their loved ones are protected, and they want to make sure that this virus goes away, because we were promised by Joe Biden and by a lot of, medical experts, Fauci fraud, that, the virus can go away if we just get the vaccine and just get it done and over with, which some of us who follow politics knew that was a lie. But then again, what do we know at this point about this virus? It's brand new.
Right. All right, so how long after the vaccine did you start to experience symptoms?
So when I had the first dosage, I didn't realize I was having the effects of the vaccine. I went to the store one day and I got some BCAAs because I like to go to the gym. I like to work out, and also I'm trying to build up. I'm trying to build muscle, and also muscle recovery is super important. So,
sorry, can I stop you for a second?
Sorry?
Did you say BCS or BCAAs?
BCAAs.
And what is that?
BCAA.
And what is that?
It's a workout supplement normally taken after you work out. And at first I thought I was having an allergic reaction to it, which is odd because I've taken BCAAs, amino acids, in the past, and I've never had any type of reaction. And like right here, my neck was getting like stiff, and like right here, my neck right here, it was making it uncomfortable to breathe. It wasn't like choking me or anything else like that. It was just making it super uncomfortable. So I quit doing the BCAAs immediately because I thought, okay, if I have to throw up to make myself comfortable right here and right here, I might be having an allergic reaction to something, because I've never had this happen before. But the problem still consisted, and I was scared. I'm thinking, okay, this might lead to something worse. I need to know what's going on. I talked to a doctor. they just looked at me and said, "Oh, you're having an allergic reaction to something, blah blah blah. Go about your business." And still, like I noticed, like more often or not, the problems right here in my neck and my shoulder were consistent. And I got freaked out, and then I immediately started looking up. I started hearing some from radio hosts like Jimmy Dore, and also some other friends of mine, like, yeah, I got the vaccine a while ago, and they're saying that some of the symptoms could be this and this. And Jimmy Dore also had the same symptoms as I'm describing. I'm thinking, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way this is a coincidence. And I also noticed I was a lot more groggy early, as of the time of the first vaccine. And so I talked to a buddy of mine. I'm like, "Hey man, I got the vaccine. I think I'm injured. I think I'm having some effects. What do I do?" So, and I don't know if that was the next question or not, but if you don't mind, I can go into that a little bit.
Sure, yes, please do.
So he recommended pine needle powder, which has been known to absorb spike proteins and stuff like that have been caused by injuries such as the vaccine. And so I got the pine needle powder off of Amazon. It was only like $6 to $10, I think. And after I started drinking it, it immediately started helping my shoulder out immediately. My throat felt so much better. And I started, doing that for a few days, and it took care of that. After the second dose of the vaccine, I noticed that when I was doing intense cardio, which we've been hearing athletes who've been dropping dead out of nowhere, I've been noticing that after a good while of intense cardio, I noticed something was going wrong with my heart or my chest. And then I'd have random moments where I literally would have to stop everything, whether it was exercising or just being around my wife, and be like, I need a minute. And what was going on was I felt like something was like either clogged up or something was having a hard time flowing in this area of my heart. And I'm like, this is insane. And then when you hear about those issues, I'm thinking, okay, those guys were probably experiencing the same things I'm experiencing, except they're in the middle of a track race or something like that. They have to keep going. They can't just stop in the middle of everything like I can. And I'm thinking that is connected to the deaths that have been going on with the athletes lately. And also other cardiac events that we've been hearing about.
So did you ever go to a doctor? Were you ever formally diagnosed?
I went to the doctor for the first dose. The second dose, I did not, because I don't know a lot of doctors who would know how to connect the dots between the vaccine and these certain issues at the moment. So I didn't know who to trust. So I started doing some more research and also talking to friends of mine who are in the medical field who are knowledgeable of the effects of the vaccine. And they've recommended a number of things. And so I've been a human guinea pig ever since then.
So what else do they recommend besides the pine needle powder?
I'm sorry?
What else do they recommend? So your friend Avery, he recommended the pine needle powder. What else was recommended to you?
Give me 1 second. You're breaking up. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
I can hear you.
All right, perfect. Hopefully I don't have to ask this question one more time. What was the question?
So the question was, what else was recommended to you? So you mentioned pine needle powder by your friend Avery. What else was recommended to you to help with the symptoms?
Okay, so I started doing pine needle powder. That has been for me, especially because of the spike proteins that are in the COVID vaccine that are causing a lot of the injuries that people are suffering through. Also, I changed up my diet, and I've also started taking immunity supplements to boost my immune system, like not fish oils, black seed oil, as well as changing my diet where I've started cutting down dairy out of my diet and started going a little bit more of an alkaline diet. I've cut back on certain types of meats, I have beef every once in a while. Chicken is my main my main source of animal proteins at this point, and cutting off cheese for the most part. I mean, I still have a good slice of cheese pizza here and there, but not as often as I used to, and it's actually helped reduce the mucus in my system. Also, the flaxseed oil with the omega-3s, 6 and 9s, great for the brain, and also just good for the body in general. But be careful with that one though, because don't try to exercise with that immediately. Also, I've done the liquid silver.
Liquid silver?
Yes. I've been doing that as well every couple of days or so. And I've been able to function almost as normal as I used to.
So if I'm understanding correctly, it seems like you went on a kind of like an anti-inflammation diet and also took anti-inflammatory supplements. Is that true? Because I guess what I'm trying to understand is, how did your friend Avery know that the pine needle powder would help with spike proteins? Because of course, this is a very novel technology that came out. So how did he know? Was it like the anti-inflammatory properties? Is there something else that was going on?
Well, yeah. Well, obviously, I'm doing an anti-inflammatory diet to kind of help mitigate a good majority of the symptoms. And the pine needle powder, I'm not entirely sure. We're all kind of connected, just trying to figure out stuff that's going on. And so we're all kind of networking with other people, trying to figure out what can we do to get around this? What can we do to get around these vaccine mandates? What can we do for this? What can we do to help this person who got the shots and blah, blah, blah. And so he has friends that are nutritionists and very familiar with supplements. I have other friends that are very hippie-like, new agey-like, who don't ever take any type of government legalized drugs, as we call them, and all natural, all herbs, that kind of guy. And I've been comparing notes between Avery and some of those guys, and kind of saying, you know what, everything's an experiment. What they're doing right now with the vaccine mandates and pushing even more vaccines at this moment, no more playing safe. Let's see what works.
Okay, so it's kind of like you tried different things and see what worked and what didn't, and that's kind of what you went with.
Exactly. And I mean, I think the most important one is the diet. I mean, yes, the spike protein, the pine needle powder has been my number one supplement, but also changing up the diet, as Ellen White talks about, more of a nutritional type of diet has been the best medicine for me at this point.
So would you say that is a little bit more plant-based or kind of like maybe omnivore? Because I know you mentioned chicken and things like that. How would you describe your diet?
I would say somewhere between omnivore and kosher, meaning that not more plant-based / kosher diet, because again, I still eat some meats. I haven't gotten rid of completely meats in general, but more of a plant-based diet has done me wonders, and it's done a lot of people wonders, outside of the COVID vaccine.
And would you say that? So I wanted to go back a little bit to your experience with doctors, because it seems like there was a little bit of distrust. So for the first time that you went to the doctors, did you feel like your symptoms were taken seriously? Did you feel like they really considered that the vaccine may be causing it, or not really?
Honestly, I'm not someone that just automatically suspects everyone's wrong. I'm the type of person that's like, okay, get as much knowledge as I can and make a decision for myself kind of person, because this vaccine is brand new. This vaccine is brand new. This virus is brand new. We don't know much about it at this point. And so when my doctor, I'm thinking he doesn't, doctors give you an intelligent guess. They don't exactly have the 100% answer all the time. They just take the medical knowledge that they know, and they just try to relate it to you to the best of your health. unless you have a bad doctor, but that's a different story. But I think with this being, so to my point, with this vaccine, this virus being brand new, he's just trying to give you the best information possible. So I'm not trying to put him down or anything.
Right, because at least from hearing other people's experiences, I know some people felt like they were gaslighted when they tried to express to their doctors that this was an issue. So you're saying that really wasn't your experience. He tried the best that he could.
I think for the most part, if a doctor truly cares about you as an individual, they're going to give you the best knowledge as possible. And some doctors that who don't really care, they're basically just telling you what the science that they know at that moment is, because they don't want to be sued for malpractice. They're just trying to give you the best advice that they can at that moment. So it's we're in a tough situation at this point.
Which is true. And another question that I had is, because I want to make sure I tease this out. Some might say, well, is it possible that you had a pre-existing condition or something else that might have contributed to the symptoms that you're experiencing? Have you, if you're comfortable with saying this, have you ever been diagnosed with anything that might have contributed to this before? Or is this something that is basically after you got the vaccine, then this is pretty new for you?
Especially with the shoulder and the neck thing, that was brand new. I've had allergy shots a lot as a kid, and then I kind of outgrew them, and I never experienced anything like this. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't like choking me, it wasn't killing me. It was just really uncomfortable, and it felt like something was being blocked, or something was being blocked that could have led to something worse. And I tried everything before considering the fact that this could be results of the COVID vaccine. Because I would literally have to make myself throw up just so I can clear this up and clear whatever right here is up that was tightening up right there.
And sorry, so I can understand this. When you're saying clear up, was it kind of like your throat felt blocked? I guess I'm having a hard time seeing exactly where the blockage was.
I'm not sure if like blocked is the right word. I mean, I just think that like it was like really uncomfortable to the point where it didn't make it hard for me to breathe. It just made it very uncomfortable to breathe. Like I could still breathe normally, but there was something that was blocked there that was making me extremely uncomfortable. And I couldn't figure out what was going on until I started making myself throw up and finding out that there's a ton of mucus in my system. And I'm like, what the heck is this? Why do I have to throw up just to be able to feel comfortable? What is this? This isn't normal. I've never had this happen before, ever. And it took me a long time to even speculate that it could be connected to the vaccines.
All right. And going back to the support that you mentioned, I know that you mentioned you had some support from friends like Avery and the doctors. Did you feel like in general, the people around you were supportive of you, in your experiences, or did you feel like there was denial surrounding it?
For the most part, there was a lot of denial because no one wants to believe the worst of the vaccines. They just want to believe that these are all conspiracy theories, that get the vaccine, everything goes back to normal kind of thing. And, I don't fault them for thinking that, but after experiencing what I've experienced and hearing other stories that were related to mine, if not exactly like mine, then, it's like I would have gone along with it too. But hearing these stories and, experiencing them for myself, I definitely believe it was the COVID vaccine. I mean, what else can cause all this?
Can you give us, I'm sorry if I missed this, but can you give us a timeline on when you started experiencing symptoms? So it seems like it was like first you had the neck and the shoulder pain. How long after you got the first one did you experience that?
Let me see. I got my card right here. So I got this around August 6th. I want to say it was just actually about a month, like almost before my daughter was born. So I think about a month when I realized that I was having these experiences.
And what about the chest pain?
The what?
The chest pain that you started to experience. When did you
Okay,
start to experience that?
that was about a couple weeks after I got the second vaccine, and I'll explain what happened with the second vaccine. So after being pressured and all this other, after being pressured into it, and also figuring, hey, let's try some stuff, see what works. Immediately, as soon as I got the second vaccine, I experienced all the side effects. I mean, almost 12 hours after I got the first vaccine, the second vaccine. I got throughout the night, I got the shakes, the chills, and the shivers, which again, what I mean by the aches was as I was moving, like basic movements made me feel very achy and very, very slow. And of course, I'm sweating at the same time, shivering a lot at night. However, I will definitely say the pine needle powder minimized a lot of those symptoms very, very quickly. After I got the second vaccine, and also that night as I'm laying in bed trying to get a decent night's sleep, and trying to throw my blanket on me, and then because I'm shivering, and then throwing it off because I'm sweating to death, and then throwing it right back on. So that shouldn't be normal. I mean, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a medical expert, I'm studying all that stuff at the moment, but I know that this should not be normal for any type of situation. And so the pine needle powder actually saved me from a lot worse of these after effects of the vaccine. But back to your question, it was about a couple weeks later when I was at the gym and I was on the treadmill and I was doing intervals. So I basically walked for a little bit and then run as fast as I could, which I've been able to do quite a bit in the past. And then next thing you know, it's ironic too, because earlier that day, I'm reading these stories about people who got the vaccine, are competing, and then experiencing chest pain and stopping in the middle of everything that they're doing and falling to the ground. And then I'm running, and the next thing you know, I'm like, something's not right here. Something's not right here. Immediately stopped, jumped off the machine, got a bunch of water, cooled off, and like, I'm done with cardio for the day. Let's do something else. And then when I got home, I immediately reached for my pine needle powder, which I've stocked up on, and immediately started drinking. I'm like, okay, let's see what else I need to do to have better lung function for something like this. And that's when I read about the alkaline diets and the plant-based diets and started shifting a lot of my focus onto that.
And you didn't feel the need to see a cardiologist at that point?
I don't know any good cardiologists around this area to go to be honest with you. And at the same time, I've never had anything like that before. So I've decided that instead of getting the usual, well, it's probably this, it's probably that, it's probably this, it's probably that, it's probably blah, 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 blah. I've heard that stuff too many times. It has to be something connected to the vaccine. I'm just going to change up my diet and see if that works and go from there.
So would you say most of the symptoms, or maybe even all the symptoms, are gone now? How are you today?
I'm doing a lot better. I mean, I'm still not as fast functioning as I normally would be, but I have been able to function a lot better, especially switching over to a plant-based diet. Well, a mostly plant-based diet. I'm not going to deny my salmon. I'm definitely not going to deny my chicken. And every now and then, if I see an In-N-Out burger, man.
So could you let us know what symptoms are here and what symptoms are completely gone?
Well, then, for the most part, my neck and my shoulder have been gone for a long time. Every now and then, if I eat too much, like, if I have a cheat day and I'm watching a fight event or something like that, I'm loading up on tons and tons of extra cheese pizza, I'll notice it. A little bit, not a whole lot. No, right here. But as far as my heart, I hadn't really noticed any symptoms ever since I switched to a plant-based diet. Maybe every now and then, if I'm overdoing it, maybe I might feel it. But for the most part, they've been completely like smoothed out.
All right, so I guess we're kind of running up on time. Let me see if we actually want to open it up to anyone else who wants to ask a few questions for you. Is that okay with you, Brett?
Please.
All right, so I would say, well, two questions. First one, can you give us the brand of pine needle powder that you used, or the brand of flaxseed oil, or any of the brands that you can give us?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm actually going on Amazon. They should be in my search history.
Mhm.
If not, I have a picture of them somewhere, either on Facebook or somewhere. Give me a second. I've always made sure that the pine needle powder that I've gotten is strictly from South Korea. And I'm not doing that just because I love a lot of K-pop and K-dramas and I speak a little bit of the language. A lot of Koreans have always recommended pine needle powder for a lot of their sicknesses and stuff like that. So I've always trusted, that more than most things. As far as the black seed oil, it's a ZHOU organic black seed oil.
Okay, CHOU.
Yeah, and it looks like this.
All right, so I'm just going to put it in the chat for everyone.
Okay.
And what about the pine needle powder?
1 second. Oh, come on, where's my normal brand at? I remember posting it on the Kingdom Networking Facebook group a while ago. So I'm trying to remember off the top of my head the specific brand, but I personally would say that as long, if it's from South Korea, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be legit. Give me a second.
Right.
Found it.
Okay.
It's a Farmer Queen's pine needle powder.
You say Farmer Queen?
Yeah, Farmer Queen pine needle powder.
All right. Awesome. So my last question for you is, what would you say to those who feel like they are being pressured to take the vaccine, but they don't want to, or maybe they're just kind of in the value of decision, but they feel like they're being pressured one way or another. What would you say to those people?
Every single time I've ever been asked, should I get the vaccine or should I not? And I've always said, do not get it. It's not worth it. I mean, what I've experienced at this point is not worth it. It's definitely not worth it. Depending on who's pressuring you, if it's like your place of employment or whatever, try to look up the religious exemptions and any exemptions that you can find and use that as your main source of material. A lot of employers are not necessarily trying to push it. Some of them are for PR reasons. Some of them are doing it because of government pressure, but most employers don't even really care. They're just like, hey, as long as you're healthy and you're not going to get anyone sick, I can care less. So if it's a spouse or a loved one, go online to some credible sources, show them the research, show them even the Pfizer pages that have been released recently that have listed tons and tons of symptoms, and share that with your spouse. and say, hey, this is from Pfizer directly. This is the facts. This is the science. This is the true science right here. Look at the effects and go from there.
And do you have any recommendations for those who are suffering from injury right now and maybe don't know where to turn to, where to go?
Good news for those folks. There's a lot of people that have suffered through it. And honestly, first and foremost, just opening up and talking about it. And also just, doing, some very, minor things. Changing up your diet, supplements to boost your immune system, stuff like that would be the best recommendation as far as how to survive with the symptoms that we have been experiencing.
All right, well, thank you so much, Brett. We really appreciate you sharing your story with us. In the remaining time we have, we want to open it up for a few questions, maybe 3 minutes or so questions. So if anyone has any questions, you can feel free to put it in the chat, or you can go off of mute and just let us know.
Just real quick, like Brett was talking about diet being really important, and I agree. One of the things, minerals that is really important for preventing like the toxins from attaching to your cells is bioavailable zinc. So zinc is definitely good, manganese for that. And getting like, cruciferous vegetables in your diet, like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and also making sure you get some elderberry. Elderberry is really good for increasing the activity of your toxin fighting T cells. So diet is really important. And also to making sure you get parsley and cilantro, a teaspoon or tablespoon of each is really good for removing heavy metals from vaccines in general from your body.
And also cilantro is really good too.
Okay, thank you, Tanya. And also just to add to that, you can also look into N-acetylcysteine, vitamin C and vitamin D. Those are all very good as well. Anyone else has any questions or comments?
Before anyone,
Oh.
let me just add one thing. Also, getting outside, getting some sunlight, is a good way of getting some vitamin D. And, if you're having some cardiac stuff with the vaccine, don't do any heavy running. You can start with like a power walk or jogging or something like that around the neighborhood. Exercise is definitely something that will definitely be useful as far as getting the toxins out of your system and having a healthier lifestyle, especially after having a vaccine.
Hey, thank you, Brett. Sorry, was there someone else?
Yes,
yeah.
I just wanted to say, and hi, Tamara.
Hello.
We met back in January, I believe, at the Phoenix conference.
Oh, yes, you did.
Anyhow, regarding zinc, I just wanted to just put a FYI out there. Zinc needs to be taken with copper, so it's best to either find a product that has copper in addition to zinc, because zinc needs copper to process. So ultimately what you will find is your copper will be depleted while your zinc will go up. And both of those are bad. Well, having a depleted copper is also detrimental. So you do want to be mindful. A lot of people are taking zinc now and they don't realize that long-term zinc usage can deplete their copper, which can cause another problem. So taking zinc with copper or a what we call a food base. I always recommend food-based nutrients anyway. They come from nature. When it comes from nature, it's going to have the cofactors that are needed to properly process that food and not cause deficiencies elsewhere, where synthetic vitamins can do that. So just wanted to do an FYI on that.
Thank you so much. That's really helpful. Is there anyone who may have time for maybe one, maybe two comments or questions? Does anyone else have anything?
Just real quick, for anyone that has thyroid issues with the cruciferous vegetables, speak with your doctor about that. So, because it can actually deplete your thyroid hormone. So if you are going to, it's not necessarily that it might not be that significant for most people, but just in case, you may have to lightly steam the cruciferous vegetables. So that's it for my end.
All right. Anyone else with a really brief comment? All right. Well, it looks like no one else has anything, but thank you all for coming out. I learned a lot. I hope everyone did as well. So we are going to close with a brief word of prayer, and we're probably going to have another seminar next month. So be on the lookout for that. But thank you all, and we're about to begin prayer. Father in heaven, thank you for this seminar. Thank you for all that we have learned. Thank you for Brett, who shared his testimony with us. We pray that it'll reach others as well who are going through this issue or not sure what to do or where to turn, God. Just pray that you'll continue to give us wisdom as to how to take care of our bodies and how to help others who are going through this experience. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
Well, thank you all. Have a great night.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.